Along here is the CEO and owner of his own company, Ben Andrews, and I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
My pleasure.
Now, for people who want to know what Uncensored is, Uncensored's my way of showing people that even if we're in disability, I can still overcome controversy and reach my goals in life. At the same time, I'm able to turn myself into a perfect example for people out there dealing with any type of disability, that you should never label yourself or have people label you, and you should prove to them you can still mount to something no matter what. And it's a half-hour, 45-minute conversation. You can say anything you want, do anything you want, and let's get started. Starting off, what can you tell me about yourself?
Yeah. Well, first off, good for you, man. What you're doing here, and overcoming and moving forward in life. That's really inspirational. So, totally kudos on you, man. But what I live in Seattle, Washington. I am a father of two. I have a 7-year-old boy and a 3-year-old daughter, and I am pretty much entrenched in the film industry in Seattle. I co-owner of a talent management company. I'm also an actor myself, and a director and a producer, and I have my own production company. And I do all kinds of stuff, man. I'm on advisory committee for Washington Filmworks. I'm on a outreach committee for the film office. I'm on a Screen Actors Guild committee. So I like to do a lot of different things.
Well, if you're interested, I would love to work with you.
Yeah, we can always talk about everything, man. Definitely. Always down to collaborate with good people.
Yeah, same here. Now, the next question I was going to ask you is, how did you start your own company, and who influenced you, who motivated you?
Well, I started in the entertainment industry a little bit later in life. I didn't have any, training or anything. I think I was about 30, and I just turned to my wife, and I said, I think I want to try this whole acting thing. And she looked at me like I was crazy, and she was probably right. And then I just kind of started acting, and then I come from a project management background, so it was easy for me to go into producing, because really project management and producing is the same thing. And then from there, because the industry in Seattle is so much smaller than, let's say, New York or LA, it's a much smaller, tighter community. It's really easy here to kind of be doing everything. You can try writing, and you can try producing, and you can try directing and acting, and you'll always find somebody who's willing to collaborate with you, as long as you're an ethical and a decent person. And then I just, the first part of my life, I was born and raised in Idaho, it's like farm and ranch country, and there's really no emphasis on art, and I was always kind of an artistic soul. So as soon as I dove in, I knew that was where I belonged.
All right. Now, what year, how long have you been doing this? So when did you get started, and when was your company's anniversary?
Well, my first company, my production company, Evil Slave LLC, it's been about, I want to say 3 years now, maybe 4. And then the talent agency, which is like a satellite company, or not the talent, but the talent management, we just actually started that in the tail end of 2014.
All right. Well, same here. I started in 2013, but I really took off in 2014.
Nice.
Now, when you say talent agency, what talent do you work with, and what talent do you want to work with?
So, last year was the first year that I started trips to LA, and we're, and I need to be very clear because it gets confusing, but we're talent management, but we're not really technically talent management. We're talent development or talent incubation. So me and my business partner, basically he's an actor too, when we started in Seattle, because again, going back to that it's a satellite industry and it's much smaller. It's real difficult to kind of know who to trust and how to navigate, and who are the best acting coaches, who are the best photographers, who do you trust, who do you not trust, and the other part of that problem in Seattle is that our talent pool is kind of soft, and that's just because the work's so much less here that you have this thing that you call life, and you have your family, and you have work, and then this really cool thing over here that you get to do once in a while, which is called auditioning and acting. So Seattle actors, it's really easy for us to slide into this hobbyist mentality, and so the whole effort behind what we're doing is talent development, is really getting our talent base out of that hobbyist mentality and into, this is my career and this is my profession. So we get actors thinking on 3 tiers: personal development, business, and then craft. And then we have them fill out this big workbook that makes them just really look into themselves. What are your core beliefs? What are your strengths or your weaknesses? How do people perceive you? Why do you want to do this? If you couldn't do this, what else would you do? And it just goes across the gambit, and then we have them transfer it into a business plan. And the business plan isn't really for anybody other than themselves, but it's basically, by the time they're done, and it takes a long time to do this work, they have a mission statement about themselves. They have a marketing goal. They have their branding. They have their strategies. And it's all designed to just really put the actor into a business mentality and less of this artist mentality. I mean, both of them are good, but to make this a profession, to make money out of it, and to be able to support your family, you really need to shift into that business gear.
All right, well, for a perfect example, say what I'm doing, because I'm not an actor, would I fall under that category of working with you, or you just work with just actors?
Well, we just launched, so we're just kind of fleshing out. Our first clients are case studies, is what I like to call them. They're helping us kind of learn where we want the business to go. Uh-oh, we have a visitor.
Hi. Hey, how's it going?
This is Maddie. And this is Keith.
Hi.
And Keith's viewers.
We going to water park.
She says we're going to the water park.
Yeah,
she's a water baby.
that's nice.
Right. Yeah. Hey, so I'm going to have a conversation. Can you go play with Bobo?
No.
Uh-oh. She may be stuck with us for a minute.
Yeah, not a problem.
So anyway, I mean, we offline we can definitely chat, but we're for right now, what I'm doing is I'm just developing Seattle talent to be stronger in the Northwest, because we believe a lot more work is coming this way. Things are changing in LA and New York.
Right.
The work's kind of being pushed out, and we want to try to prep Seattle to be a good place for a lot of that work to land. But I also want, I'm also prepping my talent to kind of eventually go to Seattle, to LA, and build bridges to LA that way also.
Well, if you think about it, it's like Portland too. Portland's now known for one of the hit shows, Grimm.
Yeah, Grimm, yeah. My business partner and I, we're all Grimm. We've had our little appearances on Grimm.
Oh, who were you on Grimm?
Oh, it's very small, it was like season 2, a guy that comes in and says a couple lines and then gets killed. But I can't even remember. I think it's on IMDb, whatever episode I am on. Hey, Manny, what you doing? What you doing? Do you want to be interviewed? You're a troublemaker.
We're going to water park.
Oh, have fun.
That's her only line. We're going to the water park. What's your full name, Maddie?
KeithAndrewNetWork.
How old are you?
Yeah.
3. And what do you want to do when you grow up? Oh, good times.
Hey,
Anyway,
that's
yeah, so Grimm is up here, and Librarians. Have you seen Librarians?
heard of it. My sister's obsessed with that.
Oh yeah, I'm in the first episode. I play this hick in the bar, and I'm in there for like 5 seconds. And then we have Z Nation. You heard of Z Nation on Sci-Fi?
Oh, the Zombie Nation, right?
Yeah. Yeah, if you look at the pilot episode, literally as the credits are coming up, I'm in the first minute or two of that one also. I walk in, I'm some stupid soldier going, "We need to evacuate! We've got 2 minutes!" But yeah, those are all Northwest shows.
Now, were you also part of Police Stories?
Police Stories? I'm not familiar with that one.
Just tried looking you up on IMDb, and that's what came up.
Police Stories? Are you sure you have the right Ben Andrews?
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, I'm Ben Andrews 3 on IMDb.
Okay, that's a picture of you in a suit, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious, what's about the water park? I didn't know Seattle had a water park.
Yeah, we have a couple of them. We have one right between us and Portland. Portland's only 3 hours away, and we have this really cool indoor park called Great Wolf Lodge, which I actually probably like more than my kids do.
Well, we should hang out one day. I've never been there.
Yeah, you never been to a water park? You have been to a water park, right?
No, I've never been.
What? You're crazy, man. Where are you from?
New York.
You're in New York, right?
Yes.
Come on, New York's got to have a water park.
You know, it's funny, the first time I ever been to the beach was 2010.
What? That's crazy, man.
Do you ever been to Woodbury Commons? Or ever heard of Woodbury Commons?
You know, I've only been to New York once, and it was literally 21 years ago. So, no.
Yeah, you're not missing much. It's just basically a big tourist attraction.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
Now, I'm gonna ask you a couple easy questions, but you can ask me anything you want. This is your time too.
Okay, thank you.
But when you were on Star Trek, you know, who was your favorite person you played, and do you still keep in touch with any of the castmates?
Okay, so the Star Trek that I was on was a fan film. Do you know what a fan film is?
Yeah, fan made.
Right. So I was actually I call that my college of filmmaking because we decided to make a fan series. Actually, I got cast as the captain of the Star. My door here. You can find this stuff on YouTube. Actually, it's pretty bad. Hold on here. Stand by. I got an incoming call. There we go. So anyway, yeah, it's a fan film. It's actually recognized as one of the nicer made fan films. Star Trek Phoenix. We only made the pilot episode. It's about 30 minutes long, and I played the captain. And in the process, I ended up becoming one of the executive producers. I became one of the writers. I really ended up directing some of the stuff. but I was so new. It was a real lesson for me as far as it was a little bit too much to bite off and actually try to be a good actor in. So it's hard for me to watch because I'm like, oh God, I sucked. But it's really cool, for a fan-made film. We actually had at some point 120 volunteers working on it. And we had volunteers from all over you would not believe what Star Trek, what it brings. We had a professor in Cairo, Egypt, who would consult on our technology and make sure that it was feasible technology, something within the realm of possibility. We had Brian Sipe do our makeup, and Brian Sipe is the guy that actually, he won Academy Award for doing the makeup on Benjamin Button, Brad Pitt and Benjamin Button, and he does the makeup on all the existing Star Trek movies right now, the ones done by whatever that dude's name is.
Oh, the new one.
Yeah,
J.J. Abrams.
J.J. Abrams. And so we had all these amazing people. We had professionals come to the table. It was an amazing, amazing experience. But it was tough for me because it's volunteer, because nobody would make money, and there was 9 producers. There was a lot of chefs in the kitchen, and I was just trying to hold it together. It was quite an adventure, but as the artist and the actor, I could see that my performance suffered because of all that. So yeah, that's my story.
Well, it was a learning
Yes,
experience.
I do keep in touch with a lot of them. They're really good people.
Yeah, it's funny you said we should be talking about fan-made. Did you ever hear or see the fan-made movie trailer of Power Rangers?
I just watched it, dude. That stuff was crazy.
I really hope it's like that. That was really cool.
Yeah, that was epic. That just came out. There was a big legal battle, some chest bumping going on, and both sides just backed off literally a couple days ago.
Jason David Franco was upset about it. Tommy, Green Ranger. But I was like, oh, you're just upset because you're not in it. Just tell the truth. You're upset you're not in it.
Right. Yeah, I saw that. I was like, holy crap. Now I would watch that Power Rangers movie.
Dragon Ball Z is one of the best anime cartoons. And on subject, what is your favorite anime?
That's I'm a total sci-fi fantasy kind of guy. I love Game of Thrones. I love me Star Trek and Star Wars, but anime was never really anything that I got into for whatever reason. So I don't watch a lot of that. I stick to pretty much the mainstream stuff.
It's funny. I was talking to my friend Kurgan. He did Goldar on Power Rangers. And I said it would be awesome if there was a Dark Power Rangers, or if they copied Marvel, like the Avengers, or if they did Hawaii Five-0, Power Rangers, like SPD was kind of like that, but it still had a kid side to it. But you can do a lot with Power Rangers. You can do adult theme, you can do, a teenage theme. Something with that franchise, you have a lot of potential.
Right.
I tried watching it recently. It was really bad. It was really shitty, corny, and it's kind of like, what is this?
Which one?
I think it was Super Mega Force or a Super Samurai. It was really bad.
Huh. Yeah. Yeah, I like, did you ever watch the Battlestar reboot, Battlestar Galactica?
Yeah, I saw it. That's where Grace Parks came from.
Yeah, and I loved, that girl, Starbuck was in the Power.
Does she like Power Rangers?
She just likes to be difficult, don't you? You like to cause trouble. She likes Adventure Time. You ever watch Adventure Time, dude?
Try to. It's kind of pretty bad, but it's okay.
Yeah, well, when you have a 7-year-old and you watch it a lot, you're like, oh my god, this stuff is brilliant. There's some brilliant messaging in there, but it's totally weird. Almost like you have to be high to watch it.
Like on SpongeBob.
Yeah, right.
You know, my brother I have a niece who's about going to be 1 year old. So I might get in the same boat. You know, every time we go over to his house, we always watching SpongeBob. It's like, really? You don't want to watch like football or something? You're gonna watch SpongeBob?
Yeah.
Now, like I said, this is your time. Is there any subjects you would like to talk about? Anything you like to ask me?
Is there any subjects I want to talk about?
Yep, this is your time after all.
Well, I don't really have anything specific. Why don't you tell me a little bit more about what made you start to do this and kind of what your goals are? I'd be curious to learn more about you.
Alright, well, I used to work in retail, and I just got sick out of it. You know, long story about that, but I can tell you some other time. And I used my brother for my inspiration. You know, he's a book author. He's been on TV a couple times.
Who is this?
Oh, my eldest brother.
Oh, okay, cool.
And so like, well, I have a learning disability, and I don't want to work in retail for the rest of my life and be miserable.
Right.
So I was like, I'm going to show people I can still amount to something. In 2013, I interviewed people from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, from Amazing Spider-Man, and that was my mistake because it was just audio. And they're like, and it still gets to me. They say, well, oh, you have this great format. Why aren't you as big or wink wink bigger than you portray yourself to be? Why don't you have sponsors? Why don't you have people helping you? And I was like, I don't know. Would you like to help me with that? No. If you can't do it yourself, then it's not meant to be.
Right.
So I did it over, and thanks to you, we're up to episode 78. I thought I did have a sponsor, but you know, that was ridiculous. Basically, they said to me was, yeah, you can say the following's brought to you by blah blah blah, but can you also ask your people who you interview if they want to be work on our project too? It's like, oh, okay, I get it now. You're taking advantage of me. Okay.
Right.
But you know, I don't have a sponsor, but I was taking it one step at a time, and I'm just really, you know, knock on wood, hoping it works out.
Cool. That's all you can do is forward momentum. You know, in the universe, prove to the universe that you want it, and you move forward despite the obstacles, and it'll happen.
That's true. Now, wrapping up, do you have anything you want to say to your fans and listeners?
No, I just hope everybody has a great weekend and keep learning from your lesson, Keith. Move forward. You know, life was meant to find our passions. Don't get stuck in doing what you're doing if you're not passionate about it. Be brave, be strong, and move forward. You'll find your passion and life will be fun. That's what it's supposed to be. Freaking fun.